followed events in West Africa recently, in the last 10 years, recognizes the direct link between instability in Libya and its consequences for West Africa. I think it's no longer a mystery where these fighters came from and where the arms and finances came from for the struggle in West Africa. So the link between stability in West Africa, stability in the Maghreb, is one which is necessary for the fight against terrorism. And in the wider context, with all of these outrages taking place in various parts of Africa, is this the time for the Security Council, taking on the thought that has just been thrown out by President Macky Sall, is it the time for the Security Council to commit itself to winding down peacekeeping operations in Africa? I would have thought that this is the time where the Security Council would rather increase its presence in the search for peace on our continent. And this is not the time. What are we going to be talking about? Saving pennies and being, well, the English expression, penny wise and pound foolish. That cannot be the position of the global community as far as terrorism and stability in Africa are concerned. And these linkages between what's going on in our place, what's going on in North Africa and the Maghreb, these are direct linkages that must concern all of us, and therefore underline the need for a large coalition of forces in the world that see the stability of West Africa, the stability of the African continent as an essential ingredient in world peace and security as well. My hope is that when these matters are being commentated upon in the European media, that perspective is always present. I think there are two or three basic things that unites all of us. One is the critical role that France has played in the struggle against terrorism in the Sahel and in West Africa. And it has entailed considerable human and financial sacrifices on the part of France. But it has been welcomed because we are looking at the struggle against terrorism in West Africa as a common fight. It isn't just a fight for us in West Africa. It's an international situation, and we have to look at it in the context of a broad response, like we've seen elsewhere in the world in the fight against terrorism. West Africa is no different. But clearly, the political circumstances in Mali today have made it necessary for the French and European partners to rethink the nature of their involvement and assistance in the fight against terrorism. The epicenter is Mali, in Mali and the neighboring regions. We support this reformulation and the rethinking, but the decision essentially is that of the French and the European partners. That they are finding it difficult to be able to cooperate in any meaningful way with the authorities in Mali over the joint thing. All of West Africa, and this is the interest of ECOWAS, all of West Africa, including the coastal states, I refer here to Côte d'Ivoire, to Ghana, Togo, Benin, all the states in West Africa. We already know about the threats of terrorism in Nigeria with Boko Haram, but all of the states in West Africa are vulnerable to the penetration of terrorist outrages in West Africa. And we are therefore re-examining, together with our friends and partners, the manner in which we can respond most effectively to these emerging threats. That there is a need for a broad coalition of forces against terrorism in West Africa is indisputable. Well, our belief is that at the center of any successful initiative must be the primacy of the armed forces of the countries of the region. What the French and other European nations can bring by way of assistance has to be assistance to our forces who are engaged in the fight against terrorism. And that is the whole purpose of the Accra Initiative that we originated in Ghana to bring together the coastal states to anticipate the problems that are now before us, and do so by sharing intelligence, cooperating in joint border raids against terrorist cells in our areas and beyond. And now looking at, again, at the possibility of what other options are available to us in the Accra Initiative and within the broader ECOWAS community as to how to confront this menace. It cannot be that, having been chased out of the Middle East and Afghanistan, that the terrorist elements will find permanent home in West Africa. That cannot be the case. We have also to be resolute in making sure that the future of our nations are free of these terrorist and violent extremists. There is a fundamental determination of all of us within the ECOWAS community, and that is to construct a future based on democratic values. That is a fundamental principle that animates the protocols that link all of us in West Africa, a commitment to democratic values, to democratic legitimacy. And this is what has compelled us to take action in all the states which have now suffered unconstitutional changes of government, in Guinea, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, that we do not accept that in West Africa, within the ECOWAS space, changes of government will come through the barrel of the gun. The changes of government that will come that are legitimate and acceptable are those that are done by the people through free and transparent elections, through the ballot box. And that fundamental commitment is what shapes all of us, all of ECOWAS's policies within the community and in the response. But as we're here, basically, is to affirm the conditions that have led to a reformulation of France's position in West Africa, and to say that we continue to value the support of France in the struggle against terrorism in our area.